For the final time, this guy goes, jump! So he says, oh, you ready to skydive? And he looks up, he looks this way, he's going, no, no, no! This guy goes, what was that? Go, go, go! Throws him out! And they jump out after him. Oh my God! I look at one or two instructions and I go, guys, did you see that? And they're like, yeah. Oh, well, why did they do that? I'll never forget what they said. They said, what? That's quite simple, really. Yeah. You don't jump, we don't get paid. Now, there's certain moments in life where it's only ever going to be a one-way ticket. And, you know, anyway, no matter how much you push, no matter how much you kick and scream, there's certain times in life where you don't have a choice. You're going to get pushed. And if you don't push yourself, it's life that's going to push you. It's usually a harder landing. Anyway, we're at 12,000 feet. Okay, I can do this. Come on, focus. Yes, this is it. Yeah. Okay, I've got 16 things to do. Oh my God, it's all the way up. Now I have to do this. Are you ready to skydive? He's having a laugh. Well, it makes a difference. One, two, three, go! Ooh, and arch! And okay, I'm falling, and okay. Okay, and instructor 1 appears, and check. Instructor 2, check. And altitude 11,000 feet, falling down now, okay? And hand signal, arch more, arching more. Hand signal from this instructor. Relax. Ah! Right, okay, here we go. 8,000 feet and falling, 7.5, locking on. Practice ripcord pull, here we go. Okay, yeah, okay, 6,000, this is it for real. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and here we go. Please open, please open. And I went from 210 kilometers an hour to like 10 kilometers an hour in 3 seconds.
Oh, for me.
Well, the one thing that I learned mostly out of that was, yeah, you should never get your straps wrong. But next minute I was under canopy and it was silent, it was majestic, and I'm floating like this incredible sensation. And you know, and I glide down, I land, pretty much in the spot I should, and it was an incredible experience. And anyway, I put up my chute, I had this huge smile, and I look over and I see the guy that he pushed. He's on the floor as well, and he's got a bigger smile. And I don't know if it's because he enjoyed it like I did, or he's just glad to be alive. But I didn't realize all again. Anyway, I picked up my chute and I'm walking back to the hangar. And I started contemplating on the experience. I thought, what happened? What just happened? You see, when I was in the airplane, what was I experiencing? Fear, overwhelm, anxiety, trepidation. So you never feel one emotion, you always feel a bunch of emotions linked to it. We tend to stack those, positive and negative. I was like, whoa. Now, the second I stepped out of that airplane, fear, gone. Overwhelm, left it in the plane. I haven't got time. Why? Because I'm in the moment. I'm doing it. I haven't got time for all that contemplation stuff. I'm falling towards the earth at 210 kilometers an hour. And it made me ask the question, how many times in our lives have we sat inside the plane, having a conversation with ourselves? Should I do this? I wonder what somebody else would think. Maybe I just run one more SWOT analysis. Let me just run it through Excel one more time. Let me get a bit more market research. Let me have a little bit more money behind me. When all we ever had to do, my friends, was step out of the damn plane. You see, life is a participation sport. And you're not here to be shy. See, what is shy? Shy is a racket. Any shy people in the room? Of course I'm not going to put my hand up. Oh, what is shy? Shy is, please don't let you discover me. I'm shy. Please don't let you discover me. Anyone know any shy people? Yeah. Go get one of those like cupcakes they sat downstairs and go, when you see it, say, hey, guess what? Bang in the face. Well, come on, get rid of the game. Shy really about? In order to step out of shy, what are people looking for? More what? Certainty. Certainty about what, do you think? Certainty they won't be judged. Excellent. What else?
Responses.
Sorry?
Responses.
They've been responded to?
So how the responses will...
Oh, that there'd be the certainty that they know how to respond to a situation and
I'm talking about the
respond to others.
of others, yeah.
You see, unfortunately, my experience in life is that most people, and again, I'm speaking to a very gifted group here, speaking to people that want to take the time and effort to invest in themselves so that they can become better people. That isn't everybody. Most people settle. Not better or worse, it's just different. It doesn't come from ego or a sense of superiority or to inferiority. It's just everyone's on their own journey until they wake up and realise that life isn't about working 40 years to make somebody else's dreams come true. It's but the challenge is most of us spend our life swimming in goop. G-O-O-P, the good opinion of other people. Controls us, controls our actions. Most of our behaviour, consciously and unconsciously, is usually filtered first through what will people... Do you know what I think, what other people think? You already know. I don't give a crap. I don't need to be popular. I need to be authentic. There's a difference. But here's the paradox. By being authentic, you become popular. So by trying to crave significance, which is, again, a vast majority of most, especially more men than women, by trying to crave significance, I end up with less of it. By letting go of the need for significance, by osmosis, I tend to get more of it because people know that, that there's an aura about somebody. You know that. And if you're going to listen to the good opinion of others, guess what you're going to get? Everything but what you should be doing. Why? Because even if people care about you, parents want the certainty for their children, so they try and get them into a career path that may or may not serve them. Certain cultures are renowned for this for the last century. It's not their path. No, it's not done because the parents are mean. The parents love their children. But because they love them, they make the mistake of thinking that they want to create more certainty for their children, and therefore they follow a path that isn't a path of truth, it's a path of what they believe to be certainty. Go get an education, go get higher scores, go get this, go and fill in the blank. So if you're driven by the good opinion of others, it's never going to happen. We walk around like this giant approval needing machine. Oh, if you don't like me this way, I'll be this way. Oh, you don't want me that way, I'll be that way. You see it in relationships, you see it in marriages, you see it in schools, social groups. And to come from a place of freedom, to unhook from that. The biggest gift that you can give yourselves, and I'd love to be able to give it to you, I'd have bought a load here and give it to you guys. You can't buy this stuff in shops. The biggest gift you can give yourselves, my friends, is the ability to be internally validated. I don't need anybody else's approval. Doesn't mean I'm arrogant. Far from it. I could be the most compassionate person in the world. Do you think Gandhi needed somebody else's approval to stand up to the British? Of course not. Do you think Martin Luther King needed somebody else's approval to stand in the face of prejudice? Of course not. It's not a reflection of character in terms of being prejudiced. It's not a question of being weak or arrogant. It's a question of standing for what you believe in and not needing somebody else to validate it on a tick box so that you can feel better about it. Is this making sense? I mean, let's look at life. Let's peel back the onion one more layer. What is reality? What is our reality? See, most people get sucked into the illusion that thinking out here is real and that it's fixed. And we're just separate from that and engage with it at a certain level that we can potentially, or hopefully, mold into a way that suits our lifestyle. Well, let's see how really smart you are. How many senses, physical senses, do we have?
5.
I was giving you a clue. Physical senses, what are they? Shout them out. So, somebody's gone, yeah, smell. It's been like, yeah. Should have worn deodorant. Okay, so smell, what else? Sight, taste, touch, and sound. Okay? Yeah, wasn't the toughest exam you'll have all year. Let me ask you another question. How many of us all like the same food? Okay, so we're given 5 senses with which process all incoming information into the body from that external third-dimensional reality that we perceive we live in. Nothing can come to us from our external environment unless it is filtered first through one of those 5 senses. Now, we won't go on to other senses, that's again a different seminar, but for now let's just stick with the traditional model of 5 and say, okay, if I understand there's 5 senses, and that's my filter for interpreting information from the outside world, what do you mean we all like different foods? You mean there's a variable? How many of us all like the same music? Another variable? How about the same sense of smell? That's why there's so many different perfumes and aftershaves. We've got a different sense about what we like to smell. What about favourite colour? Yeah? What about tactile sensations? We have a different sense of what we like to feel without seeing. That's why 60% of the world wears women's underwear. So, let me just get this right. You mean that 2 people standing next to each other in the same space and time, experiencing the exact same event, breathing the same air, can experience 2 completely different realities because their experience is filtered through the 5 senses and everyone can be different for everybody else. So, question of the week. Who's right? Me! I am, damn it! Okay. But isn't that the life most of us live? Well, I'm right, obviously, because that's how I've experienced. No, you've experienced what is right for you. But in order for most people to feel good about that, do they come from a place of tolerance? Do they come from a place of understanding that there's more than one model of the world? In fact, there's currently about 7.1 billion different models of the world. Or do they come from a place of, no, I need to convince you that my model's right so that I can feel good about it? Because if I'm trapped on that, then I'm externally validated, I've given my power away, and I will never be in a position to make a decision about the life that supports me that I was born to live. I don't know how else to say it. But if you can give someone internal validation, I don't want to work in Japan. So I've got a best-selling book in Japan, I have absolutely no idea what's in it. It's literally, they transcribed a lot of my talks that I did there, they put it into a book, it went #1 its first week, we've done 100,000 copies, and I get a lot of emails in Japanese I can't read. And and apparently it's very good, but I don't want to read it. Crazy. But in Japan has a culture. Anyone here from Japan, by the way? In Japanese? No. So, I spent a lot of time in Japan, and the problem with Japan, the challenge that I find in Japan, it's not just Japan, it's endemic in a lot of Asian cultures. And I believe I've got to give you guys about another 30 seconds for our MBA students out. Those that, want to completely just invalidate everything I've said for an hour and just leave me here talking to myself. That's fine. No, go learn algebra, it's great. So, the people in Japan are suppressed. They're the unhappiest nation on earth, one of the highest suicide rates in the world. One of the biggest economies in the world, more stress, more unhappiness. Why? Why is that? I did a lot of work in Africa. I was in Uganda a couple of weeks ago. Working with, trying to inspire the country, but working with kids, and I did a lot of built schools in Tanzania, Kenya. I've worked in the slums in Google in K-Town. Why do I want to keep what's real real? Yeah, Dubai's not real. And we know that Dubai's a manufactured reality that doesn't exist anywhere else on Earth. Now, if you want to engage in Dubai on your terms, then it's great. If you think it's real and start getting sucked into it, it'll spit you out drunk, bankrupt, and lonely in 12 months. We all know that. Right? I mean, it's all fun. That's something. So, but it's important to stay grounded. That's something against Dubai. And most people in Dubai spend all their money on trying to convince other people they've got more. That's just the nature of the game. Why? Because they're looking and craving significance for the good opinion of other people. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, if I can give somebody in Japan the permission to validate themselves, something they've never been given in that culture. It's always been about serving the country, serving the emperor, serving the economy, national pride. So the peer pressure in Japan which again, just one of many different examples in many different countries, right? You're not good enough if you don't get the right school results. If you get the right school results, but you don't do what your manager tells you to do, you're not good enough. Now, whenever you give the power for somebody else to tell you you're good enough away, you can't win. You're good enough. Every single person in this room was born good enough. You guys are freaking awesome. It's about time somebody told you. Think about the biology of it. 400 million to 1, and you show up. You were born a miracle. Begs the question, why did you want to be here so badly? Oh no, you just keep right on worrying because McDonald's ran out of barbecue sauce. Put it in context. But guys, you are good enough. You don't need anybody to tell you. You don't need some crazy English guy come here and tell you that you're good enough. Yeah, you were born good enough. You don't need a piece of paper from a business school to tell you you're good enough. Now, when you come from that place, you're free to go and get it. Does that make sense? When you have the freedom to be able to go and make your own decisions because you don't need it in order to be good enough, then you're free to go and get it and enjoy it. It's like a relationship. Anybody here, and guys, if you've got to go, trust me, yeah, I won't be offended.
If I can interrupt, sorry, we have like a moment for EMEAs to join their class, and then we can still stay for question and answer and to continue the session with Peter. So whoever wants to leave now for the class, please leave, and then we can continue with some question and answer.
Feel free to leave, guys. The only downside is because I'm microphoned up, you'll hear me crying. And thank you for your time, by the way.
Thank you for yours.
More welcome. The rest of you guys staying or scared? Is this useful, by the way? We don't learn this. We don't spend an hour, a minute, a day to even think like this half of the time. Why? We're too busy being busy. Right? And why are we busy being busy? Because we think we need to get something that we don't already have. Bullshit. You already have that which you need. I'm going to say that again. You already have that which you need. Now, if that was your belief, how would you show up differently? It's like the international epidemic on most people who blame their parents at some level. What if your belief was you chose your parents? How would that shift things? You have to come to the awareness that blame doesn't work and not anywhere in nature. If they're here, you chose them, they're probably here to teach you something. Yeah, even that younger brother that really pisses you off. So, being able to come from a place where you know that you're good enough already changes the game. It gives you the freedom to go and add what you want, not because you need it. Anyone here been in a relationship? Or in a relationship? No anyone that's ever been in a relationship? Anyone here been in a relationship where maybe somebody left them? I'm going to go both hands up. You don't have to be yeah? Now, you can ask yourself two different questions, or you can look at that two different ways. You can either turn around and say, well, I'm no good, clearly, so they left me. Or you can say, well, thank God they left, so they made room for somebody who's right. Next! Now, did the situation change? Did the situation that happened change? No, they still left. But can you see two different life paths going out from that one belief shift? I'm no good, so they left me. Inferiority complex. I'm going to validate that every time I look at somebody else with the potential of, please be happy. Right? Oh, do you think I'm good enough? Boom. Or, I say, enough. And God, they went, they made room for somebody who was right, clearly. Right? Oh wow, maybe they're the lucky one. Different life. 5 years down the road, different life. But again, if you're getting into relationships, and don't get me started on relationships, it's actually my most popular talk. Yeah, and the reason for that is because if you want to see an area of stress, as well as joy, the highest level is area of intimate relationships. And again, we're not taught this. To understand the dynamics between masculine and feminine energy and the interplay is something that we just don't, I don't know, it cost me so many beautiful women over the years, and I made it my mission to learn how not to be a asshole. Right? So, understanding the opposite sex. But one of the biggest challenges is that most people get into relationships for the wrong reasons, running the same pattern that I just explained. I get into a relationship because, I think I need somebody. Guys, you cannot love that which you need. Why? Because you're going to need that. You cannot love that which you need. How about the lonely people? Any lonely people in the room? Some people get involved because they're lonely, you could, do you get it? The fact that if you feel lonely, you could be in the Rugby 7 stadium with 20,000 people and still feel lonely. So what happens? They find somebody else who's lonely. Then what happens? Now you've got 2 people that are lonely. Right? Get involved for the wrong reasons. Most people walk around like a half circle in life, in relationships, in business, looking for another half circle to complete them, as Tom Cruise unfortunately put into popular culture. Right? If I complete you, you've got to find somebody else. Right? No. If you're looking for a half circle to complete you, then you are forever going to be coming from a place of codependency. You're forever going to be coming from a place of fear of loss. And you cannot have unconditional love in that environment. So, what do? You focus on becoming the whole circle first, at which point you can find somebody else who's a whole circle. Now you can celebrate the fact that you're being together. That pattern, unfortunately, is what prevents most people from finding fulfillment. You can have moments of happiness. Go watch a chick flick. Whatever. But when it comes to fulfillment, that's a different game. So, what do you think is missing in your life that would allow you to become the person that you would most want to be with? Interesting question. The moment you can authentically say nothing, you're ready for a relationship. I'll probably break up more couples and put them together. Right? But from the perspective of wanting to step up, we want to set goals. Let me share with you two quick things on my organising principles behind setting goals, because I think it ties it in. And then we'll open the floor for some questions and see where it goes. For me, the purpose of having a goal is not to achieve the goal. I had you up to that point, right? The purpose of having a goal, why do we set goals? We set goals because we're told to set goals. So most of the time we feel in a position to set goals and we think it's somebody else's idea of what we should be. But that aside, the purpose of having a goal should not be to achieve the goal. The purpose of having a goal is to see who do you need to become in order to achieve that goal. Which is why my second organising principle is that if I have any idea how I can achieve the goals I set, when I set them, they're too small. But the mind likes to think in straight lines. The mind wants to think A to B, so if I don't know how to do that, I'm not going to set it as a goal. If I can figure out a strategy and go for it, or if passion overrides logic, it doesn't happen very often, then I'll take it until I think somebody's judging me for it, or I'm going to focus on how I feel when I fail. So if you can come from shifting your inner world, as I said right at the beginning, outer world follows inner world. If you shift your inner world, the outer world will follow. So you're just making one belief shift, guys, from thinking that life happens to you to life happens for you. It can change your life. To be able to turn around and say, something? As an entrepreneur, if I lost everything tomorrow, it'd be a damn good excuse to go again. Because it's not the having it, it's the getting it. It's the trick. We hear it all the time. Imagine going home tonight and you get a text message from Etisalat or Do, which should be called Don. I'm not sure. You get a text message saying you've won their 1 million customer round the world trip for 2 people, all expenses paid, and you look on the website and it's true. And you have a look at it, it's the most incredible trip of your entire life. It's for 1 whole year. You go to all the destinations you've ever wanted to go, all the ones you've seen on television. It's first class all the way. And you're like, oh my goodness, And you ring up your best friend and say, you're not going to believe this. I've won this incredible round-the-world trip, first class, all these incredible places. And the friend goes, whoa, hang on, what's your final destination? You're like, well, I don't know, I want to enjoy the trip. That's life. That's life. Most of the time, you're too busy asking yourself, what's the final destination? I don't want to go. What's the trip? See, if I lost everything tomorrow, it'd be a damn good excuse to go again. Why? Because I can't take it with me. The only people that tried that, the Egyptians. The Egyptians in the room. Right? Yes. And what happened? What happened? We dug it up and stole it. Right? You can't take it with you. So what does the game become? The game becomes about, what do I do while I'm here? What do I do with the gift that I've got? How do I make a difference? Well, you make a difference by doing a couple of quick things. The first is to become internally validated. You don't need anybody else's approval. If you have a set of values that you're happy with, you don't need somebody else to check them off and sign it out. End of story. The second thing is to get off swimming in goo. Get out of the good opinion of other people. It's a slippery slope to nowhere. Trust me, that's a tunnel with no cheese. What else? Set goals you don't know how to achieve. Where's the room for magic to show? Where's the room for life to step in? Where's the room for inspiration to channel through? Now, there's so many goals I didn't know how to achieve. Right? And even if I fall short, it's the journey of who I became at that point. Now, I ran a crazy race a few years back across the Sahara called Marathon des Sables. Anyone heard of that? It's a marathon a day, back-to-back for 7 days across the Sahara. Day 4 is a double marathon, 84 kilometers. You ration to 8 liters of water a day. That's for washing, cooking, hydrating. You're carrying 20 kilos on your back. It's about 52 Celsius in the day and freezing at night. Don't do it. And I remember running this marathon, and predominantly out of ego, but it was a case of what's the toughest foot race in the world. Let's give it a shot. And I remember on day 4, the double marathon day, I got up, I've already run 100 miles, and I'm like, I've got food poisoning. I tried to save water the night before by not hydrating my food. And I couldn't pick up my rucksack. I was that weak. And the gun went off, and 600 people went, and I kind of stayed and trundled along. And so I walked for the first 4 hours. I didn't have enough stamina to run. But if you're too far behind outside the cutoff, you're out of the race. So I started to run, walking, and by 8 o'clock that night, I covered about 30 miles, about 50 kilometers, and I got another 30 kilometers to run. And I was done. There wasn't one bit of motivational self-talk left in me. I got blisters on blisters. I got sand in places you never want to find sand. I got my shoulders in spasm because I'm carrying 20 kilos, and I was done. I had no solid food for 24 hours, and I sat on a rock and started to cry. I was done. And at that point, something interesting happened. I heard this noise. It's tragic. It was sound. I looked up just as the sun was setting, and I looked up and I saw this blind Korean guy in his late 60s, tied at the wrist to his guy, judging her. And I sat there for a long time, like, wow. I sat there for 5 minutes. I thought it was a mirage. Like, oh, hang on. What possesses somebody who is not an athlete, clearly, is a pensioner, can't even see where to place their feet, want to run the toughest foot race in the world? What makes somebody do that? I'm a student of human behavior. I want to find out. But I find out, I've got to catch him. So I found out. I'd 10 minutes later, I called up, and I found out through his guide, who was also his translator, that several years before, this man's brother had died of cancer. And every single year, he ran this race to raise money for the hospice that looked after his brother. I'm like, oh, hang on a minute. For me, I got this race because I was trying to prove something. I was trying to prove I was good enough. That got me as far as sitting on a rock crying. Here's a guy who is driven by wanting to add value to others, that inspires himself. It inspired me. I went and finished that stage and finished the next marathon and the race the day after that. But It was in case of when I finally understood that we feel better putting a smile on somebody else's face rather than our own. Why is that? Why? Because nature operates by two laws, my friends. The law of growth and contribution. Everything in nature grows and contributes, or it's taken out of the food chain. Everything gives. The sun gives heat. Birds sing. Flowers give fragrance. We're the only things that take. With no thought of exchange. So add value. See, one of the difference between a life that's lived as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a mother, as a friend, that you can turn around at the end and, if you've got the good fortune enough to choose the last words out of your mouth, I hope there's something like, wow, now that was spectacular. Because that's a life lived. Thank you. I'm not sure if we've got questions and answers, or want to open up the floor.
First of all, on the journey of our how we call it, inner validation, we would like to thank you for your time. And yeah, thank you once again. If you still have 15 minutes time to stay with us, that would be great to make exchange.
I'm here for as long as you want me. Yeah, anything I can do to add some value, then I will know the friends. But yeah, if you've got any questions, guys, I'm keen to open up the conversation. There's nothing off limits. Yes, right.
So, in my experience, another quality or factor, I guess, that stops a lot of would-be entrepreneurs from pursuing their dreams is lack of trust in others, which I think probably ties into the uncertainty factor. But just, it's more difficult to try to accomplish your dream by yourself. You need a network of people around you that you rely on for help. How does someone, or what are your thoughts on overcoming trust issues?
Great question, glad you asked. And as you were the first person to put your hand in the air, I've got here a little gift I bought. I didn't know whether it was going to be the best question or the most stupid question, but I thought, it was the best. First question. On here is a selection of all my best talks, including my relationship talk, 50 of my favourite books that guided some of my psychology, all of some excellent interviews that I've done, a few of bits and bobs. You can download it on my website for $2,500 if you read it. Yeah, or you can buy this woman Starbucks, and I'm sure she'll copy it in no time. But anyway. Trust in others. Outer world follows inner world. You see, everything is a reflection of our fears, or our aspirations. You see, if you believe in magic, you'll live a magical life. Most people don't. Anyone here believe in magic? Okay. Just I said magic is all academic. That's it, right? And here's one of the challenges. Most people addicted to certainty, they take. Right? So they take a cup, right? And they take their liquid capital, and they're very hesitant because they're looking for certainty. And they take a little bit into an opportunity that comes along. Oh, yeah, let me try that. Yeah, you can't. We have a saying in skydiving that says, "Don't fight gravity." But most people, if they could, would go down with the brakes on. Right? So you put a little bit more. It's like, oh, yeah, let's just try it. Yeah, and if it works for somebody else, maybe I'll go forward. Right? But I don't trust life enough to want to put myself in the game. So I'll edge in. You see, tentative is no power. Nowhere in nature is anything tentative. You either do or you don't do. What's that meant to teach us? So only if we're comfortable